Senator Muir.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Communications, Senator Fifield. In April 2016, a bus driver was walking with a school group in the historic rural town of Walhalla in my Electorate of Victoria when he collapsed from a suspected heart attack and fell 7 metres down an embankment. With the non-existent mobile communications access within the proximity of the township of Walhalla, there are ongoing communications issues, which then creates issues with connecting to the appropriate emergency services in the face of an incident. In this incident, there was an unnecessarily large number of emergency service personnel deployed from all over Victoria as far as 2 hours away, which included a number of unrequired teams at the scene due to miscommunication. Due to the delay in response, this incident unfortunately ended with a fatality. Can the Minister inform the Senate if there is any scope for funding beyond the $60 million announced for the second round of the mobile black spot program, despite the disappointment of further funding not being addressed in the 2016 to 2017 federal budget?
The Minister for Communications, Senator Fifield.
Thanks, Mr President, and I thank Senator Muir for his question and acknowledge that it's a very sad story that he's recounted. And while I can't make any specific comment about the emergency response in this particular circumstance, I have heard similar accounts. Just by way of background, Mr President, mobile networks have developed differently in Australia to the fixed line network. Fixed line has essentially been over time a government endeavour. It's been through the PMG, Telecom and Telstra. Mobile networks, on the other hand, have developed commercially and I guess you could say organically. So we have something of the order of 99% coverage by population for the mobile network, but that represents only about 30% of the landmass. So clearly there are gaps and there is a need for government incentives to address those gaps. The previous coalition government had a program to do that. I regret to say that 6 years of the Labor government there was not a dollar spent on addressing mobile phone black spots, which is why Mr Hartsuka, in opposition with Mr Turnbull, came up with the mobile black spots program, which Mr Fletcher put in place. As a result of that program, $100 million of Commonwealth government money has been leveraged into $385 million, taking into account the contributions of telcos, local government and state governments, which has seen half of the 6,000 community-nominated mobile black spots addressed through 499 mobile base stations or upgrades, and that's a 3-year program. And as Senator Muir quite rightly pointed out, we have also announced an additional $60 million for stage 2 of the mobile black spots program.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Muir, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President, and I thank the Minister for his answer. Under the eligibility criteria, assessment criteria, the coverage benefit addresses the number of premises located within the new handheld coverage footprint. Towns such as Walhalla may only have under 20 permanent residents, yet the over 120,000 annual tourists who also benefit from such infrastructure are not taken into consideration under the assessment. Has the government addressed flaws such as this under the eligibility criteria for the mobile black spot program prior to the second round?
Thank you, Senator. Minister.
Thanks, Mr President.
Order on my left. Senator Conroy.
You went on 5 trips to the
and
Northern
Senator
Territory.
Corn.
6 years, not a dollar from your side on mobile black spots. So pull your heads in.
To the chair. Minister.
You have the big red button, right?
On my left.
Mr President, it's 10 seconds. I haven't had a chance to say anything. The clock's running down.
Order. Order. Minister, you have the call.
Thanks.
Order. We'll just pause
Well,
the
if
clock.
there's not order in the chamber, how can you speak?
Order. On my left. And I'll ask the clerk to reset the clock. But I will order. But I will subtract 10 seconds. Minister.
Thanks,
Minister. Senator Cameron, a point of order.
Point of order. I'm certainly not going to challenge your decision.
Thank you.
But the minute the minister actually interjected and carried on like an idiot for the first 35 seconds.
Order, Senator Cameron. I've asked for the clock to be reset, and I'm deducting 10 seconds. Order. I know. Yes, I will ask the senator to withdraw. Thank you, Senator Cameron. Minister, you have the call. You have 50 seconds in which to respond.
Thanks, Mr President. I think it's important to note that the number of premises covered is only one of a number of assessment criteria used to determine the list of locations under round 2 of the program. Similar to round 1, each proposed base station will be assessed against 8 criteria. The amount of new coverage to be delivered in square kilometres, the number of premises located within the new handheld coverage footprint, as well as the length of major transport routes to be covered, the remoteness of the proposed site, whether the site was nominated as a priority by the local Member of Parliament, the amount of financial co-contribution being provided, the net cost to the Commonwealth, the level of service being offered, and a commitment of use from competing mobile operators to co-locate on the site. The sites also need to meet the criteria to allow for an equitable distribution of funded base stations across Australia.
Thank you, Minister. On my left, Senator Muir, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. I wasn't sure if we will get there. Can the minister explain how the government will be addressing the future need for the mobile black spot program, which is vital to rural areas and their future growth, which was initially made clear due to the oversubscription to the program? Minister.
Thanks, Mr President. The next major milestone for the program will be the conclusion of the competitive selection process for round 2, scheduled to occur on the 14th of June 2016. Following the conclusion of that process, my department will assess the proposals against the eligibility criteria. The department will use the assessment process to prepare a draft merit list of base stations, which will be then provided to Minister Nash, who has primary carriage in this area and is doing a sensational job. The locations to be funded under round 2 are expected to be announced in the second half of 2016. Meanwhile, the rollout of the 499 base stations I referred to earlier under round 1 of the program will continue. To date, 21 sites have already been activated across New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, and can I say that's 21 more sites than were activated under the previous government, because we have a program, they didn't have one, we're delivering, they didn't, they never will.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering the question has expired.